My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Noonas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Natalia.
And I'm Sky.
And today we have like a really exciting new concept for a show that Sky came up with, and it is totally fun because I feel like it's really totally like something that we would normally do anyway, but now we're just like codifying it as like a new bit that we do, a new segment that we're just gonna do from now on because it's fun. And that is, well, you've seen the title because you clicked play. It's called Defend Your Drama. Now, we're sort of taking this in a bit of a wide range. Like, Sky, what was your like original conception when you came up with this?
I can even like read. Defend Your Drama round 1 would be bringing either an unpopular or maybe even quote unquote hated drama that you liked and wish more folks would give a chance. So like that's what I thought of.
Yeah, so like
But that's pretty wide.
Yeah, there's a lot of wiggle room for like, and a few of us were chatting while we waited for people to show up to the recording, and it turns out pretty much all of us have taken this in a different direction.
Yeah, we're really good at that.
Yeah, we're really good at like looking at the
variety.
Brief. Yeah, like we look at the brief and then we put our own spin on it,
or maybe just like find the path of less resistance.
Least resistance,
yeah.
Like we just sort of went with when we read it what immediately came to mind, because I feel like this might just be me, but I feel like it's not just me, that when we read that, all of us immediately thought of a drama.
That one drama.
Yeah, we're just like, ooh, okay. So
well,
since
and I do want to say, like, so Defend Your Drama, like, as the bit goes on for like future episodes, we'll probably give different spins on it. Like, it might not necessarily always be in this.
Yeah, we like to make the first
we
one.
We like to mix it up. We like to,
so this is easy level. This is like, hey, a drama you really, you like that other people might not like. That's
either they don't, or they haven't even watched it because they heard people be mean about it.
Yeah.
Which I think is some of these. So this is the first time we're gonna go in age order today. So Amanda, you're gonna go first.
Okay.
So Amanda, what is your drama that you are going to defend with your life?
Oh, with my life. Okay.
You're taking up arms for this drama.
I'm not sure I love it that much. Way back in the day, or my early drama watching, one of my first Thai series that I started was a series of series, if you will, the You Prince series. And there's like 10,
Classics.
12, whatever, different princes who get their little stories, right? And some of them are great, and some of them are terrible, and most of them are just in the middle.
They're fine.
Not the top of my list, because the top of my list is one that like most people are like, the
Crazy Artist. Yeah,
everybody loves that. It was fantastic. Like it's
good.
10 out of 10. It
was the top of the pile, really.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but like coming in slightly below that is an absolute trash of a story with an absolute trash of a male lead that I just love. I love it. And it's You Prince, the Handsome Cowboy.
Oh, it's bad. Oh, he's awful. Okay.
But the storytelling is good. The acting is great. The writing is good. The male lead's just objectively, like, terrible. He's a horrible human being. But he's played by Puchatai, who's beautiful and cries beautifully, which is lovely because he does it a lot because he's terrible. And he realizes he's terrible. So you get to watch him cry prettily, which is, in beautiful scenery, because they call him a cowboy or a rancher, but he's a farmer. Like, he's a farmer. He's just a farmer. But whatever. They try to make it cool, and he's a cowboy. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Dude, you're a farmer.
He's a boy who's seen a cow before.
Because he's ridden a horse.
But, he's ridden. I think they do have some horseback riding in it.
Okay.
It's basically they're like, it's a winery. His family owns like they grow grapes.
The most
Right?
bougie, the
Yeah,
most bougie farming you could ever do.
Yeah, right.
And called it Cowboy.
He's a vineyard owner. Like,
Yeah, like, so
That's pretty funny.
basically the story is these kids who grew up together and they had, just a great friendship, and they were each other's first love, and he's a couple years older than her, and he went off to university, and she's real excited because she's going to go to university and she's going to be with him at university. Like, she's going to find him. They haven't seen each other in a few years, and she's going to find him, and it's going to be great because, romance, and I read books and I've watched dramas and I know how this is going to work. He's going to look me in the eyes and be like, oh, my first love is back and everything will be great. But no, because he's terrible.
such a whore.
He is. He's a whore. And yeah. So cheating. Lots of cheating. Male cheater. But he feels real bad about it when he finally realizes it's cheating.
Yeah. At least there's
like,
that.
I need you all to understand that these are things that
So bad.
are red flags for me, and I like a lot of
Yeah,
drama. I
typically
just
cheating-
quit a book because the
Usually
female
you're like,
lead was
nah,
about to
I'm
quit.
not. I'm not touching the cheating story. That's
Right?
typically
I'm
like
like,
not
no.
Amanda.
Forget it. But for some reason, this story just sucked me in. I just love it. It's like a Licorn Light, right?
Like,
it's
Okay.
only 8 episodes. It's college. Yes, clearly he's having sex with this other chick. But it's not like nobody's trying to murder each other. There's not like birth stories or secrets or whatever. It's still a college story about people being college students. And to be honest, I think most of us who have gone to college know this guy who's like, once I get married, I'll be faithful, I'll be a good husband. It's just right now while I'm in
I'll
college,
be a trash boyfriend, but I'll be a good husband someday.
but I'll be a good
magically.
husband.
Yeah, somehow
Oh,
without
yeah.
that
guy?
works out.
without
Still just
without
magically
learning
true.
any of the skills necessary to be like a good partner. I'm just gonna pretend I'm gonna do it later.
I mean, I think one of the greatest aspects of this story is that like the characters all show up in all the other little U-print stories, and Crazy Artist is like the last one, like it's the bookend at the end, and he's sitting there and he's like telling this one character, oh yeah, I'm the best boyfriend ever, and like his best friends in the backgrounds are all like rolling their eyes like, dude, is it possible you don't remember that you're a terrible human being? But like, I don't know, I just
So
I mean,
what
Push
makes
is
it so
great.
addictive? Like, what makes it
Oh,
like candy for you?
I don't know. It like I fully intended to like rewatch this all before I came on to defend it so that I could like have it really fresh. And I just did not have the time this week. So
No,
I
stuff
apologize
happens,
that I didn't, get there. But I don't know. Like it just I think that the acting is really good. I think Push is great at making you believe it, like, which is kind of terrifying, honestly. If you were his real life wife, I'd be a little terrified by how
well, like
good
it
that
seems
he
like
is
they
at
have a
making you-
perfectly fine
I know,
marriage.
they
Like
seem
they've been
real
married for a long time, so
Exactly. So, but it's good, and she does sort of grow a backbone eventually, and kind of like, no, I don't play this game. We're done. And then she makes him like the first sort of 4 episodes are like this terrible experience of like him initially being like, and then being like, oh yeah, my first love. And then, the cheating that he doesn't really think is cheating because they haven't slept together yet. So it's not cheating that I'm sleeping with someone else.
he's a bad guy, okay? He's a bad guy in this.
It's not good. But then, like, the second half of it is him really, really, like, her just making him work for it. Like, he has to work for it.
That's
Which is
good.
nice
at
to
least.
watch. It's fun
Yeah,
to watch.
You know what?
him
I do always
crawl,
like the find out portion
Right?
Yeah, like
Of a
at least
good
there is the
fucking
find
love
out portion.
story. Yeah.
Because there are some shows that it's like there's not near
Yeah.
enough find out aspect or
Yup.
any at
Yeah,
all,
they
and you're
kind of
like,
just like allows it to happen. You're like, I don't.
yeah,
What?
like oh, I just
Yeah.
accept you. Like there's zero find out. It's like nah.
I
You're
will
sitting
say,
there like,
I don't think there's quite enough of it. I think
No.
she should make him suffer longer and more. But she's so in love with him, and you're just like, oh, girl. But like, at least she does. She tries, you know, and he does the crying. The crying's so good, and it is really beautiful.
So
it
what
has
I'm hearing
really
is-
beautiful scenery and stuff. So
Pretty male tears is what I'm hearing is the large
Basically,
draw.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
this.
like, but I will say there is like a bit of a warning. He gets real, like, it's not, the word isn't violent, okay, but like he gets a little too handsy at one point.
there
He's
is a
a-
scene. I will definitely trigger warning for sort of
You know,
like
people
sexual
who've
assault. Like,
experienced,
he doesn't, but he's drunk and he kind of pushes it too far, and it gets stopped.
it's very
But
Lacorn in its
Very
styling.
Lacorn. So
yeah,
like, if
so-
you're used to that, you'll be. I was not, so it was sort of like, whoa, what are we looking at here? Like, what am I gonna see? And then it gets stopped, and you're like, okay, but also you're like, how are we coming back from that, girl? Like, I don't understand.
yeah, like it's the sort of
don't
thing
like
where
it.
like in real life you'd be like, oh no, like you would
No,
dump this man.
no,
But
right.
like in a Lacorn, you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. You know, like,
That's
Par
whatever.
for the course.
Yeah,
essentially.
like he didn't, you know, stab her. I guess he can come back from this, so whatever. You know?
Yeah.
Standards are a wee bit different fictionally for that.
Yeah, and I totally get it. I know a lot of people who absolutely hate this story. I know people who have not made it any further into You Prince because that was the first one and they hated it so much and so terrible. And I totally get that. Like, I will say, I totally get if this is just not your vibe and you can't, you know. But I would say if you're somebody who is even a little bit curious about Lacorns and you've heard people talk about Lacorns and you're like, how is that different from like a normal like GMMTV type Thai drama? This is maybe a good like dip your toe in, test the waters kind of situation. If this is too much for you, full
You're
of
not gonna
corn
like
is
it.
not gonna, you're not gonna enjoy that either. So like, you know, and they tend to be, it's makjang, but like more somehow and less somehow. I don't know how to exactly describe it. If you've watched one, you kind of like, there's a lot. It's just a lot. So, and this is sort of like a lot light. But, and I do think it does do a good job of setting up some of the friends and the people who are going to be in the other little vignettes of this series, which, like I said, some good, some bad, some just questionable. And you're like, well, and some are questionable good and some are questionable not good. But for me anyway, this one is a questionable good. It scratched an itch that I didn't know I had, and I just enjoyed
Did it make you kind of question things about yourself?
Like,
Like,
Where are my
I learned
morals?
something just now. I wonder what I just learned about myself. Because sometimes it's like, what just happened? I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm gonna file that away for later or just let it kind of be in the back of my brain and never.
because
never
like I cannot imagine any version of me at any stage in my life putting up with the crap she puts up with and
so
like
true. So
and,
true.
and deciding in the end that yep, I'm gonna marry him.
Like it's really like, girl,
Girl.
get some self-respect. Yeah,
Watching
like,
someone with a very different life than you. That's
Yeah.
what it
Yes,
is.
Sarah,
Yeah, it's-
exactly.
you're just like you're shaking your head, but you're like, but I did have fun watching this hot mess. You know,
Exactly,
like,
right? I had fun. I had fun watching it.
That's kind of the charm
you
of
know.
fictional stories, because like, and
Yeah.
no real people were
Yeah.
harmed in the making of this.
That's
Like,
true.
all of it's
Very
fake.
true.
None of this is real.
this was not really cheating. We are fine. Like, it's all good.
probably my biggest problem with this series is that there's like these two sort of like Dumb and Dumber characters that work on the farm, and these actors are really good actors, but the one actor I cannot watch him in anything else because something about his character in this is just so bleh to me that like it's all I see every time I see him in something else, and I feel bad because he's a good little actor, but like every time I see him in it, I'm like, oh, do I want to watch this? I don't know. I don't think so. Like, and I feel bad for that because for some reason, Push being an absolute trash human being did not put me off watching him in anything else. But this kid being a weird little like farmhand really
Again,
did.
something to see. Like, wonder what that is. Like, interrogate
Like, what?
yourself. Like,
Yeah.
what you could learn from that.
Question things for yourself just then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so give it a try or don't. I fully understand, but like
we don't make people do anything.
So you, Prince, is that like YouTube?
It
like,
used to be, but it's not
I'm
anymore.
not sure if it, yeah.
It might.
Yeah.
Listen,
And it's like you, like the letter.
the letter U.
dash
The letter
Yeah.
U dash
Prince.
And then they all have these names. Like there's the veterinarian one. Skip it if you find it because it's terrible.
It's not good.
Like
you can find
geologists and lawyers.
It's cute. The geologist one is cute.
Yeah. There's one with a guy who wears a dinosaur costume the whole time. Like, you know, like some of them are very cute. Some of them are very dumb. Some of them are just sweet. Some of them are,
they are findable. Just know you can
believe in yourself. Know that they were very
Believe in
popular, therefore findable.
Yeah, they are findable. Will
I'm
they be
surprised that they're not like on Viki or something because like
well, Viki has been picking up a lot of like GMMTV, so they might actually show up.
I feel like there was one time that they were.
I feel like I think they were.
Or maybe it was Drama Fever.
I like
remember.
the Baker one. There's one where there's
the
like
Baker,
a Baker. That's pretty cute.
Very fun. The Baker, the main couple from the Baker, I don't know if they're still together, but they were together for years, like in real life, which was cute. They had really cute online
social media
stuff. And it's just a half-naked Baker in an apron.
Yeah.
Bacon
It's
stuff.
literally just
okay.
You're like, sure. I don't think this is sanitary, my guy.
It seems dangerous, but sure.
But you know what? You do you, boo-boo, you know? Hey, who am I to like, step on someone's joy, you know? Jessie,
how about you, Jessie?
Defending.
I mean, you probably can guess the drama I'm gonna pick. It's a drama that like is actually like well loved. People love this drama, so I'm kind of not talking about it on a whole because it doesn't really need defending in that respect. But people like to harp on a section of it, which is very end of the show. So inherently, as I'm going to be focusing on that, this will be kind of spoiler territory. I do feel that this is a drama that you can learn spoilers and still enjoy the watch of it. So that's fine. But I understand if you want to not, we'll have time codes. Also, if you need pushing and not spoiler, there's a really cute cat in it. So that should be your like
the cat is so cute. Like,
absolutely adorable. You could just watch it for that, honestly. She does some great
I
stuff.
suddenly know what one you're about to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think anybody
who's been listening to this podcast long enough can probably
I think so.
suss out a few options.
Like, obviously, I'm going to talk about the 2017 K-drama, one of my top K-dramas of all time. It's because this is my first live. And the thing I'm going to be discussing and defending in this is the last, 3 or so episodes where she leaves. It's the trope where she leaves, and everybody hates that because they hate that trope. And I understand hating that trope. However, with this drama specifically, it is written into the script from the very beginning. People like to bypass that. And it is actually done really well and actually is of this substance to the character. And that is why it like makes me mad when people talk about it, because it's like you're essentially like just calling the character trash, and I think that there's a reason for it.
Mhm.
So on a surface level, like you see it multiple times. The thing that you are like given from the very beginning is that her character will leave if things are big and overwhelming. She did it when she was little. She did it when she moved to Seoul. She did it with like the whole like thing with the actor, everything. I should like backtrack and tell people, if you're like listening to this and you don't even know the back premise of
Yeah,
this
sure.
drama. Essentially what it is, the main lead is a assistant drama writer, and she is kind of kicked out of her house because of circumstances, aka her brother and his girlfriend are now together. And she is trying to find a house, and she ends up renting this one place because she follows an ad about like someone needing, a roommate. And she doesn't realize that the roommate is a guy through like lots of happenstances, and they both have like names that can go either way. So like both of them don't realize that the other one is of the opposite sex, and that like kind of starts the whole thing, and they fall in love and yada yada yada. Okay, so back to like this whole thing. This is like why people are mad at it, because it's essentially a romance drama. It's like a rom-com slice of life. And so people are mad when like, couples break up at the end for what they don't think is like really a good reason. But there is some things about the drama that happens that really like lend to the reasons she does this, and inherently she is doing this because she wants to be selfish for her, and she is doing things for herself. But like already we're kind of like set up, and that's how she handles big emotions, and it's a very real, true kind of like thing that people do in general in real life. So it inherently, if she didn't react this way, it would be a character assassination, because of from the very beginning of the show type thing. It's not like they threw it in towards the end to try to make it stick. And it's not something that's just gonna get magicked away by like her being in love, because that's not how things work.
Yeah.
But like really what it boils down to is kind of society and where she is in society. Because she has inherently grown up in a household where she was second class because she's the eldest female. And she has to do some things, and she's also never properly trained how to react to things, because she was never a priority. So like when you are in a position where like you're constantly having to do things to other people, you're not a priority, you're not going to like be able to regulate your emotions correctly. And we see that like in the very first like couple of minutes in the first episode, because there's this like montage of her having her birthdays, and like them like wishing her a happy birthday, and like and then she starts to try to make her wish on the cake, and the dad keeps on immediately eating the cake, so she never gets to make her wish until finally she's with her friends in Seoul, and she finally gets to make her first wish. And so she's like constantly like not being able to do things for herself because she lives in the society that she does. She's female, and she's also the first in her class, but amongst other things. Like so like being grown up at that age is really hard just in general. And especially when you are raised by like humans that like aren't good at emotions themselves, because we see like a lot of times that the dad is very dysregulated in his emotions. He's very like crazy a lot of the times. And her mom, like, this is not to like bash her mom, because I think her mom is good. Her mom is just not qualified to raise emotionally mature humans. And you see this a lot of the time, and it's not an attack, but you can see where the mom tried with what she had, with her resources, where she is in life, with her intelligence and all that, because she does raise a good daughter. However, she is a product of society. So she's been, she has like her mother whose mother raised her and kind of like essentially put her in this position. And the main lead now is in a position where she's kind of almost the first person to kind of break that, because she's now very cognitive about like everything that's going on and not wanting to be in that thing. And so it's like she's trying to be herself and do things for herself, even when society is not to. And like I think one of the things that like I love about the drama is that the drama also tells the viewers that she is going to do things that they're not going to like, and that they should actually deal with it. And they're kind of hypocrites if they don't. There's like an episode towards the end. So she's like talking to the girl who is the old girlfriend of the main lead. Because she had, this is like at the time when she has like decided she's going to divorce Eamon Kay's character. They had gotten divorced or gotten married, and it's like kind of weird and awkward, and she's not like into it. But she like is talking to this old girlfriend because the girlfriend had like given her like a job position, or like provided one, and she's like found like she's deciding not to accept it. And she's the girl is talking about how sad it is because of like this divorce, and she didn't want the sad ending. And Jung So Min's character like just looks at her and she's like, you can't believe maintaining a marriage equals a happy ending and divorce is a failure of that happiness. And then she goes on and talks about how she thought this was in the 21st century and you're so like forward in your thinking and all this stuff. And like it really like kind of forces you to like stop and think and be like, no, the divorce could be a happy ending. It doesn't have to be that, no matter what you are thinking. And you're not as progressive as you think if you are sitting here thinking, oh no, the couple that I really liked is going to break up for reasons that I don't like. And I think that there's this weird thing that people do. They just don't think about it, is if they decide that a relationship in a drama is perfect, the female lead also needs to view it that way. And it's acceptable to leave anybody for any reason whatsoever. Like, and
at any time.
Like at any time. And that's one of the things that like she does. She leaves.
It's totally fine, man.
Because she is like at a point where she's like kind of suffocating. And it doesn't matter that like it all looks good and you think it's good. Like she's gonna do it because it's her. One of the big things that the drama does, especially with her character, she's always talking about this book called Room 19. It's by Doris Lessing, and the book essentially is about a wife who is just like a housewife, and on the outside she looks like she has everything, like the perfect marriage, the perfect life, everything's great about her, but she's feeling emptiness, and she can't even quite pinpoint the emptiness too, and it like really starts to devolve in her mental health. And I think that like the main character of this show really sees that, and she doesn't want to be that. Like she wants to be loved and she wants all this, but she's like starting to see that she's like kind of like not in herself, and that's why she like needs to leave, because she doesn't want to end up like the main character in the book.
So essentially there's a huge feminist theme throughout the entire
pretty much
show. But because it's like, because there's a romance line,
and it's not the only it's not the only one too. Like it's shown through like there's three
and they all have different like relationships, and they all are
different
like
paths they want to take.
Feminist threads throughout each of them. Like,
absolutely. I mean, a lot of the people who hate the ending don't even hate the main character ending. Like a lot of the complaints you'll see is about one of the side characters that does wind up happily married and having children, and people are super pissed that she's happy.
Is she not allowed to do that? Like, is she not allowed to
that's as acceptable as like other people?
She's also allowed to choose the marriage, right? Like just like one character is allowed to not choose marriage, like they're all allowed to choose to find
themselves.
this
Yeah.
happiness. Like, what will make you happy? That's the point of feminism, is that we get to choose the life we want for ourselves, not
Yeah, like
that
it's
gets forced on us.
You
like
know,
her
and
leaving. Oh, go ahead.
she embodies, you know, the main character really embodies the ain't feeling it, hit the bricks
Yeah.
meme. Like,
Yeah,
you
and
know
for
what I
any
mean?
reason whatsoever. And it's also like she knows what she needs to do to like do stuff for herself. And she's already has like a background of people like breaking in and
Mhm.
trying to like take over her autonomy in like
Yeah.
different ways. So she's always trying to get ahead of that. She's like always she's like, I'm gonna leave now because then you don't take away that right that I have to leave. Whether it's like good emotionally or not. Um and like her leaving is like it's written with purpose in the drama. But it's supposed to also like mirror that like life is messy and you're not going to be perfect in
Mhm.
your thoughts and actions. But this is her first life, not your first life.
Yeah.
So she's allowed to not be perfect, and she's allowed to do these kind of like crazy things because the right for that decision is in her, not in the viewer or the boy that's in her life or like any other person in the thing. It's her life, and she's allowed to be messy, and she's also allowed to be not perfect because this is the first time that she's going through these emotions and going through these things. And I think that like her leaving is very essential for that. She can't be like, oh my god, Prince Charming came and now like everything's great and like now I don't want to do anything else. Like
That's
that's
not
not
how life
real.
works.
Yeah, things are messy, and it is her first like real relationship, and she's like it's her first time like living like not with like family, and it's her first time like focusing on other things that aren't her job specifically. It's like she's allowed to make these mistakes and it not be like it can be stupid in that looking back on hindsight she shouldn't have done it, but like it's not like she's stupid. She's just a human being, and she is a human like a female in society, and so she's trying to take that back no matter how. And that's why this trope is essential for her because she's allowed to do that. But also, the relationship that she acquires with him at the end after having taken the break and then coming back is so much more better than it
Mhm.
was when they married. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I was
so
about
like
to
night and
say
day.
without sometimes, and I'm not saying you always have to leave to make this, but sometimes you either have to make a mistake or not even a mistake. Sometimes you have to make a relationship decision or life decision that's possibly very difficult
Hmm.
in order to establish a better boundary or a better trajectory in your own
Mhm.
life, but also in your relationship.
Yeah, and
If
absolutely,
you have
and
any hope of any happiness with that
Yeah.
person,
yeah,
like
and
you
in
have to
this
make room for yourself.
relationships specifically, they're living in the same place. They have been
Mhm.
living in the same place even before they met. Like, well, they met each other obviously because it's a K drama. They met before they like even became roommates. But
It's a
she
classic,
doesn't
you
have
know.
like her like yes, she has a room to herself, but she doesn't have space to herself to figure out like
Mm.
what's going on and what she wants, and is if this is really going to be what her like ideals are. Like, is this being in love talking or me like settling into society? Because even though she is more progressive than her family, she still was raised by her family and raised by
Yeah.
society. So it's like she needed to like physically get away because it's not going to happen if he's like in the next room. It's just like she's not going to figure
Mhm.
out
Well,
herself.
and love is a hell of a drug to the point it can make you make decisions that you're not going to be happy with
Yeah.
Yes.
later. Like,
Yes.
and make a relationship choice that it might lock you in for the rest of your life, but is your mental health going to suffer? Are you developmentally as a person going to suffer? Like,
Mhm.
it's tough.
Mhm.
And if you stay too close to the person that you feel whatever version of love for, you're not going to be able to grow like
Yeah.
and breathe a little
Yeah.
bit to figure yourself out.
And I think it's also hard when you like all the like times she's with like males, like they are very like exactly how you think they're going to be, even her family members, and he is not. And so I think that also like confuses her in a way, because it's like, oh my gosh, like did I actually find someone who is in line with my ideals, or am I just making that up in my head, like
Yeah.
this fairy tale that I'm making up? Because she's also like a writer, like a melodrama writer, and I think that also kind of plays in a little bit about like the way that she reacts to things, because kind of like essentially her like formative years where she's like not with her family, she's like kind of being taught emotionally by through melodramas, you know.
Yeah.
In
Which
a
is
way,
perhaps not the healthiest
Yeah.
probably
No.
not.
relationship.
But like, yeah, so that's why I think that like a lot of people, like I do see a lot of people will like, especially now that it's been so long since the drama has aired, it's not like super talked about.
Yeah.
But when you see it online, someone will like mention it, and then it's immediate, like someone will be like, oh, but I hated
The ending,
when she did the trope. And like I get it, there are dramas that do this trope and they don't do it well, and it's just like for the sake of the
like
trope.
a
And
lot
I
of them
get
do it
that.
out of nowhere, where you're
Yeah.
like, this doesn't make
And it
sense.
doesn't make any
Like
sense.
it
And I
doesn't
get
make
like you
sense
have like
that
the PTSD about it, you know, like I
yeah,
get
and
that
like
like
it
but, like-
doesn't make sense that you would just leave and never call. Like, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
and this one, like
what do
if
you
you
mean?
really thought about it and really like thought about what she's saying, like it makes so much more sense. And like I don't think this drama would have hit me the way it did if it was not there. And like I just also think that it would just be such a like a sad thing for her character, having grown the way that she does throughout the drama, that like just the boy being there makes it all better for her. Like she still
It
like
wouldn't
doesn't
make sense.
yeah, it just doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense where the marriage and relationship was versus like after she left and came back, where it became. It just it like it's fine. He was good before. Like it wasn't like it was a terrible thing. And I think that's also maybe why like people have a negative review on it, because it wasn't terrible, but it still wasn't good for her. And that it doesn't things don't have to be like super like terrible for you to leave as well. It can be
Just not
happy
working.
too.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work because it doesn't work, and it should be the person doing that. And she did that. And so I'm really happy that she does that. No matter if it was a bad decision or not, I'm glad that she did it.
Exactly.
And every relationship is so different, especially if the story, and there really aren't that many shows, but there are some. Like Search WWW is another example of shows that show the inner decisions of women. Yes, workplace too, but also relationship side, and how
and friendship.
they have to shuffle through kind of their value systems, and are they going to be happy? Or are they not going to be happy? And not just in the typical rom-com sense of happy, but in a, am I tying myself down in a way that is going to harm me? Like in that, and really examining that.
Yeah. So if you see it out in the world and you haven't watched it yet because someone did say something about it, I really think you should not listen to that and really just kind of like see what the series is for what it is. Like they tell you.
Also, yeah, and approaching it knowing there's mellow tones to it. There's feminist themes.
Yeah.
And knowing that you need to be paying attention to those. It's not just yay butterflies.
Yeah, this is not like a rom-com.
Although it does
this
have
is like
butterflies.
a slice of life.
Yes,
it has rom-com like vibes.
It's got everything. It's got everything.
Yeah, it really does have everything. It has great female friendship. It has like fun work, like family dynamics, like even the
And
friendships
sometimes
between
it's okay
the
to like
yeah,
not focus on whatever aspect of a show that you might not like, but when it comes to the integral feminist themes in a show like that, maybe don't throw don't just be ignoring that. Like that's actually a huge aspect.
And you know what? Like I did not enjoy the end. Like I enjoyed the end, but like that part where she leaves, I didn't like it. But you're not supposed to like it. You know what I mean? Like
not
that's not.
to be fun.
They've built up a whole relationship. It didn't. it frustrated me and it made me angry about it, but it didn't make me hate the drama. I still think it's a great drama. It just, I didn't enjoy that part. Like, up until that point, I was watching like every episode like 3 times a week. It was like, it came out and there was no subtitles, but I'd watch it anyway. And then there was half subtitles, and I was like, you know what? I'll give it another shot. And then I'd watch it again with like full subs, right? And that episode, I didn't feel like rewatching that one. It was not giving me those same happy vibes. You know? But I didn't like dump it and say, well, I'm not coming back anymore. And I don't like trash it out in the world, because like I still think the story got where it needed to go, and part of that,
and the characters all stayed in line with their characters.
So, the relationships of everyone, like no matter what, drama, is so good in this.
In the story, because sometimes the things in the story that you don't like are there to tell the story. Like that's part of a story, right?
And here's the uncomfortable truth that I want to say about it. If she never came back, that would have been okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would have been okay too.
Like,
and it's totally fine to do that, even if he's a good guy and hasn't done anything to her, because he hasn't.
He hadn't.
That's the big thing. But that's still fine. She has
okay.
the body autonomy to say, nope, I'm not
into it. I'm out. Yeah.
I just saw on Twitter somebody talking about another drama that has a similar thing where people really, really enjoy it, but they hate the way it ends. And I was like, listening to this conversation, I was like, oh yeah, Third Charm. Remember Third Charm? People hate how that ends. And I mean, the actress is like, no, it ended how it had to end. Like that was the right ending.
That was the
for
point.
My character. Yeah. That was the story we were telling. And like people are furious, right? But you're like,
it is what it is.
They told a good story. That was the story. Like,
all right, Natalia.
And now for something completely different from Natalia.
Okay,
there's a direction.
Listen, there in art and creation, there is a expression that is incredibly useful, and that is, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Okay? But I think in enjoying art, don't let good be the enemy of enjoyment. Because I don't think those two things necessarily need to go together. And stay with me here. I feel like the art of watching an incredibly enjoyable piece of garbage is slowly, people are like, oh, I didn't like it because like, oh, the lighting wasn't good or the acting was bad. Shut up. Listen, sometimes there's a piece of media that it being bad is what makes it so good. Like what
the medium is the message.
Exactly. It's terribleness is what makes it so much fun to watch. Now, let me paint a little word picture for you. Imagine you're the tail end of Kin Porsche is on, okay? It's like the last 3 episodes. And that show really picked up. And so Thailand was thinking to themselves, I know what the people want. They want mafia romance, okay? But imagine you had about a quarter of the budget and not that good of a cast and not that good of a source material, but you decided to go with it anyway. That gives you the 2022 cult classic, Unforgotten Night. The story of an accountant who decides to have a one-night stand with just some random dude he meets at a bar because the guy he was secretly in love with just introduced his boyfriend to him. Okay? So he's like, oh, I'm so sad that this man I wasn't dating now has a boyfriend. I'm going to go out and get laid, which is like, you know what? You do you.
Sure.
But then imagine for some reason he's just so distraught that he goes home with this cheese ball in a suit who proceeds to have real kinky sex with him. Now, this show is, I guess, a BDSM mafia show. But imagine if you were watching a show about BDSM where
Does
it
B
became
stand for bad?
no, where it becomes very obvious that no one from the writing to the talent had ever done any BDSM or seen it or researched anything about it whatsoever. When I
had a concept of BDSM.
like, they get the concept of BDSM, they're like, yeah, whips, chains, maybe a little candle wax, we're having a good time.
The ambiance.
So, like, they get the trappings, but it becomes painfully clear none of them know what the hell they're doing. So it's like and that is the essence of this incredibly bad but incredibly enjoyable show, because the acting, what? Okay. It's got a bunch of classics in it. It's got, the domineering, like, rich guy, right? Who, by the way, is like obsessed with tigers. The poster even has them like embracing with like a real graphic design is my passion, like tiger, like ripped with like a white tiger behind him. He owns 2 tigers. He has 2 pet tigers, okay? But he also has
So they spent all the budget on the tigers?
on these tigers.
Is that what happened?
But he also has like a full back tiger tattoo. But the vibe of it is, those like really cheesy printed like fuzzy blankets. Do you know, with like the satin edges that have like, like the 3 wolves howling at the moon, or like it's that vibe of a tattoo, and you're like, oh, okay. And then you've got like the other guy who like is just constantly like, I don't want to be with you, and then the mafia guy being like, well, too late. You live with me now, and he's like, what? Then you've got some polyamorous bodyguards that just are like there for some reason, and you're like, what is happening? And the real classic is you've got this villain, another evil mafioso, but then you've got like this woman, the classic woman who doesn't understand gay people don't want to, like, gay men aren't interested in having sex with women. Classic. Everything about this is so bad that it somehow combines into being an absolutely incredible watching experience.
So for you, it's like a cult classic.
It's like a cult classic, like 2022. It hasn't been like long enough for it to be a cult classic, but I really feel like it's on its way.
It has a special charm that like you can't really describe, but it's there.
Because it's like, it's not well done, okay? But there's something like I just need to like explain, like the sex scene that they have at the beginning. Like, that doesn't show anything. It's like real, like, it's not on Kin Porsche level, you know what I mean? But like, they've got poor Yoon, who, if you're familiar with the Thai BL world, there was no way this man should have been cast to play a mafioso whatsoever. But they've got him like, like if he had a mustache, he'd be twirling it while like lightly whipping this guy. Like, and you're just watching this like, what am I watching? Like, this is so... It's got everything. It's got bomb threats. It has a beach episode. They kill so many people. Like, so many...
It could have its own bingo card.
It could. Like, it has everything in it. Like, there's even like a kid there for a while. There's an inappropriate age gap side couple. It's got everything terrible that like would listen. The teens on Twitter would be clutching their pearls watching this show, okay? But like, this show is so enjoyable to watch because you're watching it, and every episode you're like, no, like, and there's the soundtrack is so dramatic for no reason. Like, they'll be playing like the most dramatic, like, like in like those really bad like soap operas where it'll do like sudden zoom ins on like people's faces, like and like violins will play. It'll have that type of music playing, and someone will just be like, walking down some stairs to be like, and you're like, why is this happening? Like, it's everything about it makes me so happy.
So, if someone has watched this
Mhm.
show
Yes.
and does not despise it,
Yes.
does that give like a lot of street cred to that person to you?
I
I
to
see
me,
you,
no,
friend.
listen, to me, it's sort of like you get it. Like, you know,
Yeah.
girls who
The girls
get
who
it,
get it.
get
Yeah.
it.
Gives you a
Because
little
like,
nod.
because like
Yeah.
while I was watching it, at first I was like, what is it? But it was a sort of show where I watched the first episode. I said, wow, that was terrible. And then I was like, I cannot
more.
wait for episode 2 to drop, because I watched this as it was airing. And I was just like, yes, give me more, because it's so bad. And it's so bad in a way that you're just like, they really got this made? Like, and it's like, it's almost impressive to watch. And I gave it a 9 out of 10 because I had a 9 out of 10 enjoyment.
You had a
Of
9
this
out of
drama.
10 time.
It's like the average is a 6.5. You know what I mean? Like, this is the vibe.
Sometimes you just like watching dramas where like they tried,
Mhm.
they gave it their all,
Listen,
and you're really
An
happy.
A for effort.
And the worst part is they keep trying to like make the like, because
Make
this
it
is
work.
part like the story, like, it's based on a novel, but like it's based on a novel that's in like a series of interconnected novels, and these are some of the most problematic BL novels you've ever seen in your life. Like, everything reprehensible is in them, okay? But they keep I've watched so many versions of like the other characters in this, and it's all terrible, but it's not fun terrible. This one managed to be terrible, but also terribly fun. You know what I mean? Like, when you're just the fun of it keeps you going, because you're like, okay, the villain is chewing up scenery. Like, he's just like coming in and just being just like maniacally evil in really inappropriate situations. Then it's like you've got this girl character who's like, she's trying to sleep with this gay man who's just like, we're just friends, and she's like, I would make him mine, and it's like, girl, like, calm down. Then he's like, it's got everything. Like, it's the wildest. Like, I can't understand it from a, you making this? Really? Okay, sure. But like,
We're here now.
but once, and like, you really have to get past that first sex scene, because I feel like that really sets the tone for everything else you're going to experience. And it's not in a like, oh, this was sexy. It was not sexy. It was comedic, okay? Like, it was funny. So you're just like, oh, okay, this is bad, good bad, delightful bad. Like, this is, you know, it will be a cult classic one day bad. I'm excited for like in 10 years for people to be like, oh, have you seen this like crazy, ridiculous B movie style show? And I'll be like, yes, young squires. I was there the day it dropped. And it's on iQIYI, and I think it's still on Gagula, and I think it's even on Viki. Like, it's easy to watch, but God, it makes me. It just
But
like,
is
it
it
breaks.
easy to watch?
It's the thing is, it's easy to watch if you're not looking for perfection in a show, because as I said, good is the enemy of fun sometimes. It's a fun show, it's not a good show. And this is my defense, and it seems like a bad defense, but I'm just gonna like quote the top review on MDL, because the caption is, "It was awful, I loved it." Story, 1 out of 10. Acting, 1 out of 10. Music, 1 out of 10. Overall, 10 out of 10. This was another, like, listen, and it's just like, if one thing had been good, it wouldn't have the same effect. But since every single element of it is just so bad and stupid, that you're just like, this is almost an art form. of how ridiculous this show is. And I think everyone should watch it because it's horrendous and it's incredible at the same time. That is Unforgotten Night. I've never forgotten it. It's been an unforgotten show in my heart. Literally, we announced this and I was like, oh, I already know it. I already know because like when it came out, people were like, "Oh, this is so stupid. Oh, this is so bad acted," and I was like, "This is incredible. Like this is absolutely fantastic." Like, so yeah. Ooh, and like, listen, all you need to do is go look at the poster, which if you're on YouTube, will have already been on the screen because I will have put it up. You'll know the vibe immediately. Like, chef's kiss. Unforgotten Night in my heart, babes, always in my heart. Sky, let's take us out. What is your drama you need to defend?
Okay, so kind of similar to Jessie. Like, I'm not talking about the whole drama, or maybe I am in some sense, but I will preface this with this is a popular show. Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of people do like this show, so I'm not. This isn't the Natalia angle or anything. I'm not like, if you know, you know type thing. So we're going to talk about Alchemy of Souls because I feel like we need to have a little chit chat for some people. So, and this might be something that was maybe, and this happens sometimes with dramas, like as they're airing or as they're dropping. The people that are experiencing the drama as it's dropping perhaps have some preconceptions, and then they run away with those preconceptions, and then bandwagons happen, and then all of a sudden, oh, I can't even watch blah blah blah. So like that's kind of what happened with this drama. So I just really want to talk about it. It has been quite some time since I have watched this. I adore Alchemy of Souls. I have posters. I have soundtrack. So. Love it. It is fantasy. So this is a fantasy show. If you don't like fantasy and magic, do not pass go. Like it is magic and stuff. Like that is what we're dealing with. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you the entire plot, but what I do want, and this, there will be a major spoiler, but like it's on the posters. So
yeah.
I didn't want to say it like again as it was dropping or like that first year, but like we're gonna talk about it now because we have to. Because I saw someone talk about it even this past week and it made me a little angry. So Alchemy of Souls came out in 2022. The first season came out in 22, or however you want to describe it. There's two halves to this entire show. And so the first half is 20 episodes. I think the second half is 10. So it's not.
So it's like 2/3 and a third.
I guess. Yeah, I guess I didn't say that right. But I think there was only, so the first section ended August 28th, 2022. The second section came out December 10th, 2022. So there was a handful of months in between. I'm not going to get into the big lore of this show and stuff. Again, if you like magic and body swapping and swords, check it out. Like that's, there you be.
That's all you need, man.
But what I want you to realize about this show is, so the first section, the first 20 episode section, our two lead characters are played by Lee Jae-wook and Jung So-min. So we just talked about her. Like she was in This Is My First Life.
2 in 1 day.
And even vibe-wise, I would say the first 20 episode section as a whole, there's a bit more comedy to it. That not the entire time, but her character has chunks of comedy in her character. Again, I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of her character too much, but again, I just said body swapping. So body swapping happens. That is in the first episode. That is not something that is a shocker. That's what we're doing. And then as things progress in that first 20 episode section of this show, then what comes out the other side of the second 10 episode section later. And I don't remember how much of a time jump there was. It's been a little bit since I've watched it. But yes, it's a different actress then.
Mhm.
However, it is the same actress
As the first
the
episode.
very beginning of the first episode. So do you understand what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
Like,
Uh-huh.
and so, and the second act, so that for the second section, we're talking Go Yoon Jung, and she's lovely. She's great. Like, and so I have seen people even recently be like, "Oh, I loved that first part, but I got so angry they recasted that character.
The same actress.
They didn't let Jung So Min do it." I'm just like,
What
guys, that doesn't even make
I
sense.
remember when it came out, even that first episode when they had that scene with that actress, people being like, "That was so cool. She did such a great job. This was so amazing. I would have loved to watch more of that." And then you got to watch more of that, and people got mad. Like,
Y'all don't know what you want. You know, you get sending mixed messages here.
So, and there became this really, so as this show was airing, and even so before that second section finally got to drop and air, which again, I thought the months in between made even logical sense. Narratively, made sense.
Yeah.
It was all fine. But in the meantime, a large swath of people, of drama fans that were watching this show and seemed into it for usually whatever reasons, they came up with a narrative that Jung So Min, because of her age, or she got passed over, or as if it was a sudden change. It's like, guys, this is a heavy CGI show.
Yeah, she wasn't.
This has been written like this from the beginning. Like, I don't know what you're not getting from episode 1. Like, I'm not understanding. Like,
I don't know what's not clicking, really.
I think the only thing I could think of, because I only watched the first couple of episodes and then didn't watch them, so I am very far outside of this. The only thing I can think of is the fact that it started pretty early on in that first season bit of time when it was out, that there was bringing up that she wasn't going to be in the second part was a thing.
Yeah.
And it was very kind of clear that they were being purposely not saying much about it because it would give away spoilers to the second part. And I think people saw that as oh, they're just trying to negotiate with her right now, so she might come on, might not. And that's the only reason I can think of someone not catching on. But if you've watched the drama fully and paid attention to it, you should picked up that the second part, once the actress steps in again, you're like, oh, okay.
And also, the second part is incredibly good.
I would say the second part is darker than the first part, which the first episode or two of the first part is kind of dark, but I am saying it gets a little funnier for a while, between those 20 episodes. There are some dark parts, but let me tell you, it goes really hard, really dark, really quick, the second part. And loved it so much. And I love Jung So Min, but that's just not the way the body swap thing functions.
Yeah, you knew she was
show.
body swapping too. Even if you don't pick up on the actress, you're like, this person can already body swap.
I have seen people be so offended on her behalf, and I'm like, everyone is missing the plot.
She doesn't know what she's signing up for when she's
I remember
she'll never know, and we have to protect her.
She's a full-grown woman, my friend.
This was way before the second part even started airing. I was just perplexed by the things people were saying, and I'm like, and I didn't know kind of the extra little twists and levels to this, because there's more lore that gets revealed later, because of course there is. That's
how shows work.
Stuff works. But as far as on the poster of the people get so mad that, oh, the actress for that character changed. I'm like,
the body
that's the point.
In
that
the
is,
fantasy, the fantasy drama.
Fantasy that features very heavily
The
with
fantasy body swap.
where multiple people have swapped bodies.
Alchemy
You're
of Souls
surprised?
refers to her taking her soul and plucking it into a different body. That is the
Having the magic
That
to
is-
move
The
your soul.
alchemy is
Like
the
the best thing
magic
you
that
can
moves
do.
the souls to new bodies.
and how that's not allowed. You're not supposed to do that because evidently
Once you
international
jump
fans of
into
shows just
the
can't.
favorite actress, you have to stay in the favorite actress's body. Don't you know, Sky?
Like,
So it's like, guys, this is a secret garden. If you are stuck and really just needing, no, I need, just two. Cool.
No.
There's a lot of shows like that.
not allowed. Bad.
I wonder, we've had Jung So Min twice today in this episode, and she just finished Love Next Door, which people also got mad about in parts.
I
right?
liked it.
And I
Okay,
wondered-
I thought it was good. You know,
I haven't watched any of it, so like, whatever. But I'm starting to wonder if she reads the scripts and goes, "Oh, this is gonna piss people off. Yeah, let's do that one. I like it.
Like,
I
I'm
like it.
feeling
Let's
this.
go. Let's
So
give it a go."
what I wonder, and I really think, so if now, so this show started in 2022. So now, if you were to approach Alchemy of Souls and just binged the whole thing,
Mhm.
and you knew nothing, which that contextually on social media, when I saw people talking about this show, the person that was first discussing it, it was their first drama they ever watched.
Wow.
Oh,
That's how they start. I think their second one was Goblin. Like, that's how hard they were going with the fantasy stuff. And I'm like, dang, like,
Wow.
you're gonna cut. And the third was Tale of the Nine-Tailed. That's what they were doing.
That's quite a
okay?
trifecta.
wow.
So that was their experience. And in my head, I'm like, well, now you've exhausted the main trifecta fantasy.
Yeah.
Have fun. Like,
well, I hope you like our show. It's pretty slim pickings otherwise.
Move on to the
Yes,
speed dramas, my friend. 'Cause-
Yeah, because you're moving on to a different country.
Yeah, I guess that's either you're switching up genres or you're just moving on.
to be clear, we know that there are other ones too, and I'm not trying
Yeah,
to
we're
shit.
just-
I'm
we're
just
just-
saying,
We're
like,
having a little bit of fun here.
But
We
also
like-
like
we like to
readily
joke.
available on Netflix because clearly those are also like all on major sites too. So that's a
like,
big thing.
My demon could be the next one. But I'm just saying, as far as like, if you kind of look at like the themes kind of being
Yeah.
the main, the fantasy theme being the main center of what's
Mhm.
Yeah, they know what they
not
like,
as many, right?
and they went
Mhm.
through. Yeah, I get it.
But like, that would be quite the experience to have those
Yeah.
be the
Yeah,
first three.
Absolutely.
That's why I bring it up. Like, I was like, ooh, girl, like that is a way to start. It's kind of better to start low and
and
build
work
up.
your way up
Yeah.
instead of start.
Because if you start there, and if you're a fantasy
Yeah.
person, it's like, okay, I
Well,
hope you have a good time.
well, listen, you might want to actually move to Chinese dramas if that's the case.
Yeah.
Because Chinese dramas do be making fantasy dramas left, right, and center. So
That
that's,
is true.
you might, that's our suggestion. Look, helpful suggestions, not just drama defenses. Helpful suggestions.
So, but, and another critique I've seen of Alchemy of Souls that I don't really think is founded. Some people really can't parse the story,
Mm.
which if you don't get it, just rewatch whatever episode confused you and you're going to be fine. Like, it's it's pretty plain if you give it space in your brain. I really don't think it's that hard, but
A lot of people just don't know how to watch fantasy because they've never experienced it and probably went into it just knowing the actors and then did that thing where they're like, I'm just here for the actors. And fantasy can be hard if you don't really know it. Like,
yeah,
It's a
if
big
you're not used to
thing.
that
different.
genre.
Yeah.
Like
Big
experiencing
thing on like book talk, right? With the romantasy, the girls who get in through romantasy, and then they try something that's high
Like a-
fantasy, and they're like,
And it's
there is a lot going on here that my brain is not connecting
Yeah.
with, and you're like, yeah, because it's a different
Genre.
kind of
Yeah.
fantasy.
it's like approaching The Untamed, and if you have zero fantasy background,
yeah.
That would be
It's gonna be kind of
listen,
rough for you.
the first 15 episodes of the Untamed, if it's your first fantasy, even if
That
it's
would
your
be
first like C drama,
hard.
it would be you wouldn't be able to do it. Because
There's
it'd be
so
like
many
as soon as you watch the main character die and then suddenly he's back but nobody recognizes him, you'd be like, I don't get
Right.
it. You're like, we gotta use a little bit of imagination here. You know, you gotta read between the lines.
And if you don't know it's so heavily in politics too, like I think a lot of people
Mhm.
don't realize how heavy fantasy is in politics. I mean, like
Yeah.
politics are
Yeah.
everywhere, but like how
Mhm.
much is a forefront.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
So I mean, I'm not saying there aren't small confusing aspects of Alchemy of Souls, but
No.
again, I do think the folks that are having more of a struggle, it's because maybe they're there because of Jung So Min, and that's like, and you know, I get it. If you are a Jung So Min like fangirl and like you're sad that she is not a big part of the second part, I get it. But that's it. That is how it was crafted. I'm
There
sorry.
wasn't a
Like,
slight
that is-
against her or against you as
Yeah.
a fan.
Yeah.
It was just the way the
I just-
story goes. Like,
I felt that there's a lot of unfair mischaracterization happening about like
I agree.
it was very like maybe they're negotiating with her and they didn't give her enough just
let the
drama
story
Twitter
play
at the
out.
time was wild and I just kind of was amazed. And then finally when it dropped and I watched and most of those folks of course didn't even touch the second
And
bit.
that was a mistake because the second bit
And
is
then
so
I was
good.
watching it and I was like, it all was necessary. And this was not a slight against the
No,
actor.
it all
Obviously, I'm sorry, but if you go, I watched all the behind the scenes, okay? Jung So Min had a good time. She's fine. She
listen,
Okay.
she made her money and went home. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know, like her self-worth wasn't tied to being in the second season. She was good. Also, when you watch the second season of this show, because I feel like a lot of people just refuse to do so, it makes you rethink the first season because things that you just sort of like didn't really think of that much, suddenly they all become like, oh, the connections.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
you know.
and it's not like immediate the first couple episodes. All of a sudden there's some big lore drops and you're like, well, we didn't know that stuff. Cool. So it becomes a whole thing. But so I really do highly recommend the show for folks that like fantasy. Or if you are new to fantasy, I do think it's actually pretty good.
I think it's actually pretty good. Because it does like
because they do
everything.
explain it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And now I'm saying this. I had to rewatch the first episode or two a couple times because like I had too much time in between, and I had to then remember like what lore are we dealing with, and so I had to like come back in and remember it all. Yeah, it doesn't. It's not as easy as these are just magic people. There's more things going on than that. But I think it's really worth it. But yes, there's a tag on MDL, transmigration. That is a thing that occurs. Which foreshadowing on that, by the way. Just say that right now. So, but also I want this to be a lesson to please trust. I'm not saying trust businesses or corporations, but sometimes
trust writers sometimes.
Trust actresses to know their worth and know that they're often, if they've been in the game long enough, they know what they're up to.
Yeah.
Jung So Min has been
always
in
an
the
attack.
quite a while.
Yeah. And also she's in demand. Okay.
Yes. She like
She's
especially know like
hurting for roles.
where your actress lives in demand game, because then you'd be like, yeah, that wouldn't have been ever an issue. Because
like
she would just like not have taken the role and moved on and found like more.
Yeah. Like her co-stars in this were like just thrilled to just be able to be working with her.
Yeah.
Like they were just
like
amazing.
she was the most well-known member of the younger cast. Don't worry. She's doing okay. All right? She's fine.
And I feel like that all that, blustered up sentiment really overshadowed like the performance of the second lead actress. And she was just so good. And I just think that was really unfortunate.
Yeah.
And so and it made me become a huge fan of her to where like, oh, anytime she pops up, I at least want to see what she's up to. Like, I want to see what she's doing.
Cool.
And it's cool. The reason I like body swap stuff is because you get to see these actors and actresses portray usually two different characters. Like there's a lot of hardcore acting going on. It's really neat. So anyway, if you dropped Alchemy of Souls because you got mad at something, I want you to
pick it back up, my friends.
Consider.
I want you to realize how much misinformation happened with it. Like,
yeah, you've been lied to,
a
friends.
Bit. And I will say the second part is pretty dark.
It's really good.
I really liked that part.
It's so good. Like, I liked it better than the first part.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed the first part. So
yeah. So,
I just think I think people didn't get the full effect, obviously.
They didn't get the memo. They didn't understand what was going down.
They didn't trust the process.
Exactly.
And if you made that mistake,
it's okay.
No one's judging you. Like, bandwagons are dangerous little critters. It's okay.
Yeah.
They happen.
Just come back.
But
it's fine.
You can always watch it. If you hate it, just drop it.
Yeah.
But you can watch it and you don't even have to tell anybody.
No, you can do it secretly. Listen, like if all of your friends are Alchemy of Souls haters, don't worry, we won't tell on you.
Oh.
You can watch it. We're not going to expose you. It's okay.
And that's kind of the thing. Like, that's what I hope that we foster with our podcast a little bit. Like, I hope even if you're a newer listener to us and maybe this is like the second or third episode you hear of us or something, I want you to understand we're a very safe space when it comes to. I mean, obviously, Natalia is encouraging
watching bad shows. Watch bad shows. I mean, like, and
shows.
Listen, if you're embarrassed
Do not
about
need
it,
to
you don't
be.
tell people.
Shows don't need to be high art. You also don't need to be ashamed of stuff that you watch. If your online friends or whoever is like really giving you shit for liking something. You need to find better friends.
Hit the
like,
bricks.
You really do.
And you know what? The flip side is also true. If everybody loves something and it is not clicking for you and you just don't like it, that is also okay.
Yeah.
You don't
That
take it
happens to all of us.
It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you or something wrong with your taste in shows or whatever. Like, we don't all agree.
No, we all love wildly different things.
Like,
Yeah.
And we're still friends.
yeah.
We don't judge each other for that.
We're allowed.
We judge each other for other things,
For
not
other
TV shows.
things, not the terrible shows we might watch or not watch. It's
Your
fine.
entertainment should be entertaining. And if it is not
Exactly.
entertaining you, then let it go. And if it is entertaining you, then don't worry about what other people think about it.
And I'm just saying, if you're self-conscious about it, no one is twisting your arm to like share it.
You don't
whatever
have to tweet
social
about
media
it. You
you're
don't have to put it. You don't have to put it on Blue Sky. You don't have to go make an Instagram post. You can just watch it and tell no one. You can tell us. We'd always love to hear. Don't worry. You can, listen, you can join our Discord. We have a Discord, which is the safe place that you can be like, I actually liked X show that people were shitting on, and I assure you, if not one of us four, there will be someone else there who'll be like, me too. Ooh, like it's like a quiet Discord, but it's a friendly Discord.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a very positive place. So there's links.
But it's just don't question. Just it shows that's the whole thing. Dramas are supposed to be either whatever experience you're looking for. They don't always have to be fun or happy. They can be sad.
Yeah.
Tear your soul out, whatever. But if you're not getting entertained, or
if you're not enjoying the experience, if it's not either like if it's not giving you joy or it's not giving you catharsis, hit the bricks. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Move on. It's all good.
Nope. you're not tied to the chair being forced
No,
to do anything.
you're not. Listen, you're not in the Clockwork Orange machine with your eyelids pried open, being forced to watch a K-drama. Like, you can move on. It's totally fine. And on that note, we must move on. For it is late at night when we record, and I think a little behind the scenes action. We record late at night. Anyway, so thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. We will be back again with another drama.
Absolutely.
Probably in the new year, because we've got all our episodes until the new year planned. So like, it won't be until the new year, but it might be soon. Who knows? If you people like it, you people, aka the listeners, we can be back soon. But if you enjoyed listening to this and you want to listen to our other great bits that we do here, we can be found wherever podcasts can be found. We're on Podbean, is where we host our stuff. And everything is on YouTube in video for a full year now. We've been in beautiful video, but all of our audio stuff is still also on YouTube as well for anyone wanting to listen to us. But you can also go to certifiednoonas.com, where I will have lovingly put the time codes and the links to these shows if they exist. I'm be real, you Prince at the moment does not exist anywhere, but like, if it's legally available, there will be a link to it. And we do that for every single episode. So every single episode you can look up and we'll have a link to where it was when we recorded that episode. a little addendum to the linking. And if you want to support this podcast, you can go to patreon.com/certifiednoonas to join the Certified Found Family. They're our found family on the web. We love them. They're the best. We have a movie night every month. We get little mini episodes. We love them. They're the best. We literally we're friends with them. Like, we're fam. In the club, we all fam. In the fam family, we all fam, Anyway, thank you. And also, join our Discord and find us on social media. It's always at Certified Noonas, the usual. Anyway, thank you for listening. We will be back next week with another hot topic. I don't know. No, it'll just be another fun episode. It'll just be another fun episode.
I know what the next episode is. It's not.
Yeah, it's not. Listen. I spoke too soon. I forgot what next week's is going to be. It'll be an interesting topic. Okay,
There you go.
We'll make it fun because
It'll
we
be
always
us talking about stuff.
Yeah, we always make it fun. Anyway, thank you for listening. Keep, wash your hands, wear a mask. Flu season is upon us. COVID season has been going on for years. Take care of yourselves and your community. And as always, keep enjoying Asian entertainment. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.